We're live.
Oh, we're live. If you could see the blaze, not this week, motherfuckers. What is
Hell
up?
no.
Money
What's up,
Mansmann here,
DEGents?
Distinguished DeGents channel podcast with my co-host, living up to his name, Big Bucks Abeyta. Big Bucks, how are you doing today?
I'm brutally exhausted. I ain't gonna lie. I've had a long story short, and we're gonna get into the more nitty gritty towards the end. I've been cranking out some overtime over here, so it's been a long day. But you know what?
That's why we call him Big
Especially. And you know what? Especially after that bloodbath on Sunday, from my end, I not only was lucky to make it out alive out of that. Monday was definitely a good rebound day for me. Helped me get past breaking even. Helped me get back into the profit margin. So, all in all, I can't complain. But we're gonna have to go into these games and just see where I went wrong in some of these. It was, as you know, you were here. For me, it was just a brutal. Unforgiving day for me.
Well, you were doing no. I mean, basically the Denver game started, and that was the end of the week.
And that literally set the precedence of that betting day. It just did not go whatsoever my way. But I got a couple, honest to God, if it wasn't for that, a couple of suckouts and a couple of live bets that I threw in, maybe half drunkenly, it could have been a lot worse. But no, all in all, profited 12 units, believe it or not. I wish it was more, but literally thank God for the Thursday night game where I literally swept the house again and hit a 10-1 same game parlay. Sorry, a 12-1 same game parlay. Literally saved my betting week.
Yeah.
So
no,
just lucky. It's not going to be a Shlager Wednesday for me, but Tuesday, whatever day. It's not going to be a Shlager day for me just because I don't
profit 12 units and just nothing. See, that's why we call them big bucks.
Yeah, no, 12 unit profit. But you know what? Like, it's just literally after Sunday, it was just like, let me get back to even in some sense. Luckily, I did, but it just doesn't feel like a.
Oh, I got you. You were basically like up more from Thursday and then Sunday and Monday, really. So you kind of sort of broke even those days, and you basically you're 12-1 or you're 10-1.
Lost 6 units Sunday, broke even Monday.
Gotcha.
Or got myself back to even, but Thursday really was the profit day. So like I said, I'm up for the week, but it was literally, if it wasn't for Thursday, it would be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Money Mansmann, how did you perform overall though?
Well,
with all your bets?
You see the gold bars behind me. Well, this week, Money Mansmann's revenge. Did the math today. 30 unit weekend.
Let's
cleaned
go.
Up. Yeah.
Yes,
I don't bet
sir.
as much as you do because my name isn't Big Bucks, but I raked this weekend. It was a great day. Hit a 10-1 round robin, which was
that is a chef's kiss. How many legs?
8 legs. 8 legs.
Nice.
Did a 6 round robin, give myself a little betting insurance, but I hit all 8 and got a few suckouts to get there. But hey, if it hits, who cares?
That's the beautiful thing about round robins, though. I mean, that is kind of that weird parlay insurance you get with it. But you know what? It's one of those things where, like, if you hit all 8 legs, you're like, wow, I should have parlayed this. Would have been a greater day. But then if you only hit 6 even, then it's like, oh, well, damn, thank God I round robin this, but probably should have done a lower. It's like you can never really, like, even when you win on a round robin, sometimes you feel like you have to kick yourself. So you got 10 units. I mean, that's what a good day. What a good end to that bet. We'll get into some of my best plays literally going into the Sunday games. Like we kind of briefly, I want to say I maybe threw something out on the Twitter.
Just briefly before we get into that, real quick, special announcement. The DEGents are going to Buffalo. Broncos Bills Monday,
it is confirmed.
November 13th. It is confirmed. And we do have tickets for that event now.
So, DEGents, we will be at that game. We're definitely going to have to throw out some live footage, and maybe we're going to have to get Money Mansmann thrown through a table if by the end of the night. I'm looking forward to this trip. I know the Broncos have looked like dog shit, but I'm hoping the city of Buffalo will embrace me in my degeneracy on this end, and We can only hope for the best.
Then again, though, considering where the seats are, you may not be able to see the Denver Broncos look like doing so we'll see how that goes.
I may not want to, depending on how the rest of the season goes. I don't know if I want to see them.
But yeah, so definitely something to look forward to later, later in the year. And yeah, truncated too, because we're going to be away this weekend. So sort of.
That's true, DEGents. We will be throwing out another video tomorrow. It's going to be a truncated handicap for week 4. Got some pretty big and important things going on in my life. And by big and important things, I have to go take the boys for the bachelor party and just go get wrecked and be a further degenerate for the weekend. So just didn't have the full time. We wanted to throw out some product for you guys before we left, though. We didn't want to leave you DEGents empty-handed. So we'll be throwing out our best bets for week 4 coming out. It won't be a full handicap card, unfortunately, but we will leave you with something.
Yeah.
By the way, Money Mansmann, we had a double best bet. 3-0 this year on the best bets for me this year. 3-0. So that was a good call on our end. I think we've had 2 out of 3 weeks double best bets. So far it's been successful. That might have to be hopefully the move going forward, but
yeah, fingers crossed. It may be hard this week because again, this is a hard week in general coming up, but yeah, before we get to that, I guess we gotta recap this week. So.
We do. Maybe the title. I think it's Overreaction Week Part 2 in terms of Week 4. Especially with some of these lines, I just feel like it's a lot of overreaction to Week 3. And maybe trying to counterbalance it. Maybe some teams have been figured out, so now those lines are kind of reflecting appropriately. But some of these lines, straight Chewbacca games for me, they make no damn sense. But let's get into the Week 3 slate, and let's start it off strong here. I told y'all to take the Titans plus 3.5. Not like it fucking mattered. Cleveland won that one. They won a 27-3 in a pathetic attempt by Tannehill in this offense, and just. God, like I mentioned in the last episode, I cannot get a fucking read on the Titans. They just always tend to screw me. I'm on the train, they screw me. I hop off the train, they're good again. And I might just have to start fading them every week. That way you guys, at least somebody can start making fucking money off of them because God knows I can't. But yeah, just bad performance by Tannehill. They couldn't get the run going with Derrick Henry. Deshaun Watson surprisingly didn't throw an interception, which killed my interception round robin that I had. I had him with Trevor Lawrence and Zach the MILF Hunter. So it just, one of the many plays that just did not go my way. But Deshaun Watson looked all right this week, just on the positive. I know he had a lot of bad weeks leading up to it, but maybe this Titans team just was what he needed to rebound.
Yeah, there's another game, of course, that could go on. It could be nominated, but my donkey pick of the week. I don't like Tennessee. I didn't like Tennessee. I hate Tennessee. And you try and get cute. Mike Vrabel is an underdog, and they got smoked. And I think basically last week confirmed. Now, mind you, I think Cleveland's defense is good. Think you're going to keep them in a lot of games. Maybe Cleveland's better than we thought they were. But the real sort of lesson for me is Tennessee is who I thought they were. They suck. Their offense is no good. They're terrible.
Yeah, and my takeaway, it's going to be just even harder to bet on them going forward. Speaking of hard to look at going forward, I don't know which side I want to lean on here, but the Chargers somehow got it done in Minnesota, 28-24. Gave the ball up on 4th down, 2 minutes to go on their own 27, 28-yard line, and Kirk Cousins just could not get the job done. And I think I know last week you said, Justin Herbert was a loser. Brandon Staley is a loser, and these Chargers were losers. And they just did another boneheaded loser move. And literally Kirk Cousins just reminded the NFL world that he's Kirk Cousins, and just I don't know if it's necessarily regression. I don't know if it's just bad luck, considering last year they were like the luckiest team alive in the NFL. But God, the Vikings are just going to be another hard team to really bet on, except for maybe like team totals on the points, because they do seem to be able to drive the ball at times. It seems like Kirk Cousins really, like when he makes mistakes, they're just at the worst possible times. And even when it went their way, they just couldn't do it. And I think you're starting to see this Vikings offense depreciate without a Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison, hate to say it, he's not going to be the guy for long. I think the Vikings are going to have to switch it over to Cam Akers sooner rather than later. It's not that I think it was the best pickup in the world, but I think if Cam Akers even gives you half of what he gave you towards the end with the Rams, I'd be looking at them towards the rebound personally, but it's just, God, it's going to be hard to back this Vikings team moving forward.
Yeah, when you're playing close games, you can't afford the turnovers that they have. And their coach actually came out and basically threatened to bench people to turn the ball over. Like, that's how desperate they're becoming, there. Yeah, when you're playing close games, you can't afford to turn the ball over. And just real quick, Brandon Staley is a fucking horse's ass. Like, this guy needs to be out of the league. I mean, he's a fucking idiot. How do you go for it? 4th down on your own 24-yard line. Stupid.
That was, God, like, that's one of those moves where, like, I don't even know what his answer was in response to it, but, like, I swear to God, if it's anything related to, well, analytics say that if you go for, I think, like, 12-year-old kids who play Madden on rookie know to punt the ball in that situation. And literally, I think what made it worse, too, was they gave it to their backup running back,
who would have, like if you do it slant in the game.
Yeah, like if you do it slant to, like, Keenan Allen, who literally catches 90% of the balls thrown towards his way, and he just doesn't get it, pretty boneheaded still, but you know what? You threw it to your best receiver. Mike Williams, I think, was out by this point. You run it, you do a design play action, RPO. I could understand that, but just literally halfback handoff to a running back who got 12 yards. That was your big 4th down play with 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter on your own 20. That was just like horrible, horrible play calling, horrible coaching. And I'll be looking to fade the hell out of Brandon Staley next week too. Like, I know I faded him. I'm fading him every week at this point. I think he might have to go on
the Raiders. Are you sure you want to do that?
God, I mean, we've seen that move too before, like 2 years ago in week 18. I mean, yeah, you sure you want to fade Brandon Staley? Yeah, I was pretty sure then, and yeah. I mean, it fucking paid off. So honestly, yeah, I mean, I might have to throw the Chargers on auto fade. Like, boneheaded plays like that, they're not going to get away with that every week.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Minnesota, I mean, they have to win eventually. I'll tell you, early little tease. Minnesota 3.5-point favorites against Carolina. I don't know.
God, I don't know about that. I don't know about that either. We'll have to. You guys will have to tune in next week to see if we even put that in one of our plays. Moving forward, though, dual best bet. I yelled for 5 minutes straight at the sports books, asking them what the fuck they were thinking here, putting the Patriots at only 2.5-point favorites. Thought it was the dumbest shit ever. Saw the number, didn't hesitate, made it my best bet. God, it was another awful Patriots-Jets game. It was just pathetic. I will say my main takeaway from this, I know a lot of people are saying, like, clearly Zach Wilson's not the guy. A lot of what else I've been hearing, too, is that Mac Jones isn't the guy because of this game, and I thought that was a bit ridiculous and overblown. I mean, if you guys actually watched the game, heavy rain game in MetLife, and Mac Jones, not from lack of trying, he had a couple plays where they were like play action designs, and he threw the ball fine, but the receivers just couldn't get a hold of it because of the wet conditions. I think if it was a dry game, Mac Jones looks a lot better. I mean, we saw him the previous 2 weeks. I know he didn't exactly win every game. A lot more serviceable than Zach Wilson. So I think, like, there's a lot of overreaction on Mac Jones and just how he performed. But at the end of the day, Bill Belichick outcoached the New York Jets once again. He beat the New York Jets once again. Wasn't even really close until the very end, and it just looked a lot closer than what it really was. But, yeah, just again, like we knew was going to happen. Terrible performance with the Jets. Patriots did enough to win. That's why, and at 2.5, that's why it was my best bet. So that was nice to see hit.
Yeah,
one of my few hits.
Yeah, I mean, I think the takeaway is more than Zach Wilson because we knew what he is. They actually signed Trevor Siemian, by the way. So
I saw that.
That's their savior, Trevor Siemian. You remember Trevor Siemian, ex-Denver Broncos?
Former Denver Broncos quarterback.
How'd that work out
has a better winning record than Russell Wilson.
There you go. There's the Jet savior. No, I mean, I think this is an indictment on, and I think this is what we were trying to say when the Jets were overrated. Remember when this defense was like, yeah, we're going to be the 86 Bears.
Oh, the 85 Bears, yeah.
You give up over 300 yards to Mac Jones and that vaunted Patriots offense in the rain. I mean, let's be honest. They should be 0-3. Josh Allen basically did 2 YOLO balls to lose the game. They should be 0-3. I mean, they're just an overrated team. And now that they have Zach Wilson there, it's really showing it. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything. Their offensive line sucks.
Yeah, by the way, they were 2.5 here. They're 9.5 next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. First Sunday night football game since 2011. And you get to see Zach Wilson.
Well, you're going to be seeing Trevor Siemian at halftime, I think
that could happen.
When the game is like, no, the Chiefs, it'll be like 13-0 or something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game we could get into all day just because, that could go one of two ways. It could go like it did this week with the Bears, which we'll get into later, or it could just be a total shit show. And to be fair to the Jets defense, it's hard to have the conditioning needed to play 45 minutes of football when your quarterback literally has like 7 3-and-outs in a game against Bill Belichick. Like, I don't care if you were the 85 Bears, the 72 Dolphins, the 2000 Ravens. I mean, if your quarterback is only getting you 10 or less, it's just hard, especially in nowadays NFL, hard to win games if all you're getting is 10 on the board.
Yeah, that's true, but they're bad in the first half. They always give up leads early.
Yeah,
it seems
like true.
The thing with them. They seem to always, they're one of the dead, and I should have played, speaking of first half, I didn't play it, and I said I was going to when I was bad. I should have played Patriots first half because the Jets always seem to get off to bad starts.
Well, you can always rebound next week with the Chiefs, but yeah, no, Patriots, I think it's just a lot of overreaction because I think a lot of people, and especially the Barneys out there, were expecting a Patriots blowout. They expected Mac Jones to pop through. Considering you look at his stats the last 2 games, you thought maybe this is one he would shine, and just kind of gave a mediocre performance. But in a Bill Belichick system against this Jets team, that's really all you need to do. I don't really think Mac Jones, I'd have to double check. I don't think Mac Jones really did anything to screw up. I don't remember seeing any turnovers from him. And if that's all you need, I don't think that makes Mac Jones a bad quarterback. I don't think that means he's not the guy. It was a bit insane for me to see that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Moving forward, folks. Houston went to Jacksonville as 8.5-point dogs. Didn't fucking matter. They hit the money line at 3-1. Beat the shit out of Trevor Lawrence and Cinderella in Jacksonville. We called the system play. We gave out the stats. Welcome. I mean,
by the way, if you're not listening to this channel, I saw a story about how sports bettors got crushed this week and how the books just danced on everyone's grave. I mean, if you watch this show, you should have won. We gave out so many good winners, and this was one we were just dead on.
This was a week where I will say this, just as an overall premise for my betting. I gave out decent picks. I did not bet it great. There is a difference, folks. We did give out pretty damn good handicaps this week. However, if you don't bet it right or you don't make don't make the appropriate bets, you can still get cleaned even though when you made a good choice. Prime example here. I wanted to lock up Houston plus 8.5. Didn't fucking do it. That's money I could have won hand over fist easily. Didn't do it. What did I do instead? I took Green Bay, and I ended up being lucky enough to get a push at -1. But that was a game that fell out of hands real quickly. But, I mean, getting back to this Houston-Jacksonville game, we gave you all the numbers. We told you what the system play was here. I mean, even if you didn't think Houston would win, you were getting 8.5 points here with this team, with a team that normally beats the Jaguars in Jacksonville. And lo and behold, what happened? Jacksonville didn't show up. And now some people may say it was the look ahead to London, but they go to London every year. Like, they should have known, like, they should have been more prepared to let CJ Stroud go off the way they did for this team that was a minus 160. By the way, minus 160 favorite to win the AFC South. Same as the Chiefs to win the West. Like, tell me how that made sense.
Well, it's not looking very good right now. And by the way, I'm getting a little tired of the excuses for the Jaguars. I mean, they had a piss poor performance against Kansas City. They shouldn't have covered against Indianapolis. Trust me, I was on Jacksonville for that game. That was lucky. And this game, I mean, they got their doors blown off. I'm telling you, like, I actually was looking at the Jacksonville game, not to get, again, another little teaser. I'm not feeling too confident about them this upcoming week either. I don't know. I don't get the excuses for Jacksonville. Like, they're just not playing up to where we expected, and especially Trevor Lawrence not playing up to where we expected him to be.
Trevor Lawrence is looking like potential, but he's looking at like bust potential here. Truth be told,
not Zach Wilson bust potential, but like,
I honestly, I had this comparison in my head earlier, and like you said, Justin Herbert was a loser. Why aren't we talking about like the only difference between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert is their one matchup in the playoffs? That's literally the difference. If you think about it, terrible organization, terrible front office. Yes, I'm saying the Khan family for the Jags, they're not that great at football managing. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but I don't think they know what they're doing half the time. And Trevor Lawrence, first overall pick, not playing at first overall pick potential here. I mean, and say what you will about Herbert, I think he definitely is your franchise guy. You're looking at another year or two with Trevor Lawrence before I think they move on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Jacksonville, although, again, they had a good end to the year last year. I don't know. Lawrence looks like he should be better than he is. I don't understand. And you can't even – I mean, the difference is the Chargers just, like, they always find ways to lose and suck in their defense. I don't know what their defense – like, Jacksonville's defense played pretty decently against Kansas City, and they lost. Like,
yeah,
you know, that's what they do.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, that was an 8.5 point lock I missed out on. But if you guys got it, congratulations. But yeah, I can't believe the public was on Jacksonville.
Oh, by the way, my Survivor contest, 3/4 of the entrants are out. We went from like 20,000 to 6,000 left. Everybody got knocked out last week with Dallas, with Jacksonville was another one.
We'll get into the other games, and there was one for me where I got eliminated from my Survivor this week, unfortunately. But moving on, your Buffalo Bills, they went to Washington. They saw not Commander. They literally massacred this team. Wasn't even close. Buffalo Bills 37, Commanders 3. Commander Howell, I think, had like 3 picks in the game. Just literally underperformed compared to the last 2 weeks. A game that I kind of saw coming to begin with. And really the question was, is this Commies team a bad team? And what did the Bills do? They go in and beat bad teams. That's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, this was a statement for the Commanders. The Bills, they beat up on these bad teams. I'm really curious to see what they do next week against Miami. So it was really on the Commanders. You sort of learned, like, you know, the Commanders are a team that'll beat Denver by 2. You know what I mean? Like, they beat Arizona by 4, Denver by 2. That's who they're going to be. They're not going to be good. And I don't think they're, you know, a very good team.
Yeah, and I will say the one positive was obviously not seeing Josh Allen fuck up as much, but I really, really loved how your defense stepped up here, albeit against essentially a rookie quarterback. This is what their defense does. But it was pleasant to see that, like, Josh Allen didn't have to play hero ball this game. He just was able to do his thing. And,
Terrell Bernard had a career in one day.
Yeah. if you guys play not daily fantasy, but if you play defensive player in your fantasy leagues, if you had him, that was probably half your points for the day right there. But yeah, Buffalo just again like they beat up bad teams. This is what they do. And going into they have to host Miami next week, I think, and they're laying 2.5. And part of it, give you a teaser alert. Part of me wonders is last week the best the Dolphins are going to look. I saw a crazy stat. I don't know how true it is. I'd have to take a look. But literally, Tua Tagovailoa has the exact same stats he did going into week 3 this year than he did going into last year. So are we about to get a week 4 repeat? You know, I hope not, just because we never wish injury upon people, but like makes you wonder what's going to happen with this Dolphins team moving forward. Like, is that the best we're going to see then? But all right. Going forward, this was my survivor pick. I had Baltimore hosting the Indianapolis Colts and Gardner Minshew. God, I couldn't believe the collapse of this Ravens team. And again, terrible weather probably played a role in this. I was down on the Colts. I was down on Gardner Minshew. They kept this close, and they went to overtime, and maybe I think that was a statement game on Lamar. I think Lamar had too many opportunities to put this game away, and he just couldn't do it. And the turnovers again for Lamar is just what's killing this Ravens team now.
That fumble where he just drops the ball and it falls out of his hand. And, you know, I mean, those are killers. It reminds me almost of the Giants game last year where he had that costly fumble inside his own 20 that cost him the game. And, you know, Lamar's not, I don't know, he's just mediocre to me. Like, he's mediocre, and I don't think the Ravens defense is all that crazy. And, I mean, I don't know.
They are hurt, to be fair. They are injured.
Like I said, I should have bet the Colts. I don't know why I didn't, because this is just what the Ravens do. They play these weird games. Gardner Minshew, a serviceable quarterback. And I mean, I don't know. Like, for whatever reason, it's like there's a drop of rain on the ground and Lamar can't throw the ball anymore. So they regressed into, you know, that offense where they run the ball like 70 times and they just the fumbles and they couldn't do anything. Couple missed field goals. I mean, no offense. Like when you're kicking a 61-yard field goal in the rain to beat this, you know, an Indianapolis Colts team with their backup quarterback, kind of tells you something about what you're doing out there.
I mean, I will say this: the Colts are, and I mentioned this, I think, about a different game. The Colts are always good for like one weird win that makes no sense. Is that like maybe this is the one win? But I honestly, like when I was trying to recap this, and I was like, actually, like you watch this game, it makes a lot of sense how they won this. The Ravens just didn't show up, and
Zach Moss, I mean, ex-Buffalo Bill,
God.
Congratulations to you. You're revitalizing your career. Jonathan Taylor's, you know, get well soon, buddy. Like, take a rest.
Yeah, it's one more week for Jonathan Taylor, but he may not be a starter coming after this. I mean, if Zach Moss goes off again next week, want to say, I think I had this up. Who are the Colts playing next week? The Colts are hosting the LA Rams coming off that win. So that could be a very interesting game.
I haven't gotten to that game yet, but interesting.
I have not gotten to it either. All right, another NFC. Sorry, we're going into an NFC matchup here. Probably should have played this game too. Didn't play it because I wasn't that confident. Detroit hosted the Atlanta Falcons. I've been down on Desmond Ridder. I said he wasn't good. I said he was a terrible quarterback. Couldn't get shit done. And the next thing you know, they lose 20-3 in a typical bad Jared Goff mediocre performance. But the Lions win at home. They get the cover at home. Money Mansmann, what was your takeaway here? Mine was just like Desmond Ridder is exactly who we thought he was, but is this Lions team showing their colors?
Well, I think the Lions aren't that bad. I mean, I think they're a decent team. Like, they're well coached. They're a decent team. For them to win a game like that really shows you. I mean, you know, the over-under, I was expecting it to be fireworks, and that over-under was never close at any point in the night. Yeah, really. I think the real takeaway for me, Atlanta looks to be one of those teams where it's like the splits are going to matter. Just a different team at home compared to on the road. The numbers bear that out. I think Ritter's undefeated at home. And I think he had a great home record in college. So it's really interesting, like the difference. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. This Atlanta team, you may want to fade them on the road. Again, getting into the London game against the Jaguars, that's part of what's making it difficult. But yeah, that's my takeaway. Atlanta on the road, different team. Really going to have to look at that home road split in the future.
And Atlanta's going to London next week against the Jags, so that's a game I actually might give a handicap out when we do our truncated card. That might be one I actually take a look at. Yeah, another NFC matchup here, though. The Green Bay Packers down 17-0 to the Saints. Derek Carr goes out with an AC joint injury in a shoulder. In comes Jameis Winston, and I left the Packers for dead. I thought my -1 bet was done, and I turn around and they win 18-17, and my bet pushes. Yeah. Again, literally just how my betting day went. Like, I thought they were dead.
You want to avoid that Kaser bet? Yep.
No, not yet. I mean, Derek Carr's injury is going to be one to keep an eye on.
Okay, but Commander Jameis is going to hopefully do something.
Are you trying to cash out on your
Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm down on that. Oh, God. I mean, it's bad because we said Derek Carr was shit, and then Jameis Winston came in, and the Saints, literally stopped moving the ball. Their offense didn't score another point the rest of the game. Although they should have won. The crazy thing is they should have won. The guy missed a 44-yard field goal to lose the game. They actually should have won the game, strangely enough. So, weird game.
This very weird game. Jordan Love at home basically got shut out for, I think it was 3 quarters, something like 4 quarters maybe. Then they came back up 18-17, and then just to not lose, I can see why some of the sharps have been down on this Green Bay team now, just after having to watch that performance. But again, I think looking back at the Packers, they played I'd argue they played some pretty decent defenses. I think Atlanta was the weakest one out of the 3 they played this year, and I think they even got 24 on them. The Saints, always a hard defense to play against. Week 1, they played the Bears, but they always beat the Bears. So what I would say is this was the Packers' first real test. And in a game they probably should have lost, but didn't. It's kind of like it was a redemption from week 2 where they should have beat the Falcons, but they didn't.
Yeah, it seems about even, right? That they should have been 2-1.
Yeah.
They just got there in weird circumstances.
Very much so. But either way, they're on track to hit the over for the year, which I did have a futures bet on. So at least we're on track with that. Saints, Derek Carr's looking day-to-day, probably doubtful going into next week. So, Money Mansmann, the Saints actually go up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home next Sunday, week 4, 1 o'clock. Now, we all know the history with the Bucs and the Saints. Are you going to back Commander Jameis Winston?
Yeah, see, I don't know. I got to look at that because I think Jameis isn't bad against the Buccaneers. I actually think he has
revenge spot too for him.
Yeah, I think he has some success against that. So maybe could be depending on what the line is.
Yeah, we're gonna look at all these games. That's one that's gonna be on my radar. All right, so yeah, donkey pick, clear donkey pick of the week on my end, and I debated on it. I thought about maybe switching it to Tennessee. I thought about maybe making it Baltimore. No, there's no excuse. I told you all to take the Broncos plus 6.5.
It's funny. You say you never bet on your team, and I convinced you to bet on your team. And they get fucking
yeah, I couldn't believe it. I never bet on my team for this reason, folks. It's one of my cardinal rules.
Miami just scored another touchdown, by the way.
Oh, look at that. How literally, if you go over sports media, Broncos Mile High podcast, there's one thing that's unanimous. How does Vance Joseph, our defensive coordinator, still have a job? How is he not considered an insider threat to this Broncos organization? This guy literally got fired 2 years ago for doing the same type of shit. And we gave him another job? And literally, like, I love how Sean Payton was like, yeah, whatever Nathaniel Hackett did last year, I'm going to do the opposite. Hackett had more wins last year by this point, believe it or not. And I mean, we kind of have
good, that's for sure.
Yeah, our defense was great last season. Now it's like the worst. Russell Wilson's kind of a quarterback again, but we're not winning. I mean, and maybe I hate to say maybe Sean Payton should take a page out of Nathaniel Hackett's playbook here. Maybe he can find the balance and get us a win next week against the Bears. But God, I just can't. Like, that was like I will say I've watched a lot of bad Broncos games. I remember it, and I told the story here. Christmas Day, they're playing the Rams. I had to listen to a relative explain why he's cheering on the Rams, and my Broncos are just getting their ass kicked. That was a bad game. I was pissed. I think, man, I'll let you just tell the story. I don't think I've ever been this pissed and done.
You first off, you sure you want to go to Buffalo? Are you sure you're ready for that?
See, but I won't have high expectations for for the Broncos going into Buffalo. My expectations will be low.
This was I'll be carrying your ass out of the stadium. You'll be fucking.
We'll see. I mean, it could be the other way if like the Broncos end up going up 30-0 against Josh.
You know it was bad when at halftime my guy's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to do a double now."
Yeah,
you knew where that was going.
It was not. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than like they're playing Chicago next week. If Denver does not win, burn it down. Clean house, burn it down. That's the only way to get around this. That
video will be too hot to handle. If the Broncos lose, I feel like you're going to go on like a 20-minute rant.
Oh, there will be a solo video.
There may be a solo video. Just real quick, I think we're going to see how good the Dolphins really are next week against the Bills. Because they might really be, I mean, I don't know if they're going to get 70 every game, but their offense really could be like historically good. And it looks like it. I mean, they're on pace to break the record for yards in the season. So we're really going to see what this team's made of this week.
They did this shit without Jalen Waddle too, and that's just what disgusts me. Pat Surtain too. That's what I'm saying. Burn the shit down. Like, cut everybody. Put in third stringers. Just see what they. You know what? Like, burn it down. I can't. If we lose to the Bears, I don't know what will happen. Like, you thought last week was bad when we lost by. If we lose to the Bears, it literally might be like the bottle of Blaze might be gone. It might be that level.
Wow.
But yeah, no, and this is the time of year where like the first 3 weeks generally are the hardest to handicap, but like come the next week or two, you're going to start really seeing who these teams are. You're going to see who the real deals are, who's the pretenders. I'm not saying it's too late for my Broncos yet, but you literally need to start with this Bears team and make a statement. Because if you don't, this season's over.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, his career is over.
Fat lady's warming up her vocals, that's for sure. I don't win 3.
Yeah, it's not good. And don't get me wrong, I know I gave it out as a handicap in our futures episode, Broncos under 8.5, but doesn't mean I want to see it, you know. But all right, moving into the 4:00 slate, Carolina with Andy Dalton at the helm went to Seattle. They still lost by 10. They did not get the cover. Wow. Seattle got it -5.5. And don't get me wrong, I think 2 things were true. I think Andy Dalton did play a lot better as quarterback under Frank Reich's system. I think that they looked like a lot more cohesive as a team. One of the props I actually did hit on, and one of my few bets I did hit overall, Adam Thielen over 3.5 catches for the week. It was +138.
Yeah, and he had that easy.
he had that like times 4. It was unbelievable, or times 3. But like, God, yeah, Andy Dalton. I mean, serviceable veteran. I'm surprised he didn't get the starting nod over Bryce Young. I know, I guess because he was the number 2 overall, or number 2, number 3, or no, he was number 1. Either way, like, I mean, you go out of your way to get this guy. I know you want to start him early, but I mean, you had an Andy Dalton who, it's weird. He clearly looks better in this system. I know they lost by 10 to Geno Smith in his territory. It's a hard place to win at to begin with. I wonder if they stick with Andy Dalton next week, or if they're going to give it back to Bryce Young and let him go. And
yeah, it could depend on whatever his ankle injury is. Well, maybe they won't rush him back right away. Let him sit for a couple games.
I mean, I wouldn't. Like, if it was me as an exec, I'd let Andy Dalton take the reins. He looked good enough, but I know at the end of the day, it's all about winning. And this was a game I was just more heavy on Seattle here. Again, another game I had a side I really liked. I just didn't really hit it that hard, and Seattle got the win, which was good. But I got to learn to make these smarter bets on things I thought I had a better hand on.
This is why you play your alternate spread, folks, because I did an alternate spread up to 10.5, and we got the mother of all suckouts when the Panthers scored that meaningless touchdown with like 20 seconds left. So that was very nice. But yeah, I mean, it's weird, a bit disappointing because Andy Dalton really did look good. So I feel like my handicap was right in that sense. Unfortunately, Carolina's defense completely sort of disappeared off the face of the earth. And I guess to talk about Seattle, they're a dead team. They're no good. They're, overrated. Well, now they're 2-1, and their offenses look great the last 2 weeks. So I guess Geno Smith's still writing those checks, or still
they wrote Geno Smith off, but he didn't write back.
Well, yeah, he's still back, I guess. Yeah,
still not writing back. But next week he does have a Monday night matchup at New York against the Giants. They're 1.5-point road dogs. Still. Thought this line would flip by now. This is a very unprecedented move, folks. I never give this advice. Go to your sports book.
Oh, God.
Get this number now. In case it does flip. It's still, and they're now plus 102 on the money line. I would literally argue, go get your money, put it down on Seattle right now before it's too late. Because I guarantee you by game time, this will be closer to a pick'em, or the line may flip like the Vikings and Chargers game did in the next 2 days. You're getting Daniel Jones Monday night, and you're making him a favorite. I'm about to yell at the sports books again. Like, what are you doing? What are the books doing?
I think the Giants have had some success against Seattle recently, but you're right. I mean, the Daniel Jones primetime factor, like, no offense, we've seen Daniel Jones in primetime now, two weeks now. He wasn't good against San Francisco. He wasn't good against Dallas. And, oh, yeah, remember when, oh, well, it's Dallas. They're the best team in football. Yeah, we're going to get to them in a minute.
Yeah, well, actually, we're about to get to them now. Speaking of, Dallas, they went to Arizona. We're jumping ahead of the game, but that's okay. Let's do this one first.
Who saw
Arizona? I should have. This was my number 2 donkey pick of the week because
10 straight against the NFC.
You gave it
crazy.
You gave it out. I made this handicap in week 2. Didn't follow it into week 3. Don't know what the fuck I was thinking there. Bad move on my end. But Arizona not only got the win, they didn't just get the cover. They got the win, 12.5. I don't even think it was a sweat by any stretch of the imagination there. Money Mansmann, this Arizona Cardinals team, they're still looking pretty scrappy.
They got killers, man.
I don't think they
got killers.
They didn't take the bus to this game, but I know Dallas will be getting on the bus to go home. I mean, this was prime Dak Prescott disappointment game. I even said it in the handicap. Yeah. I literally said, like, this looks like a spot Dak Prescott lays an egg. 2 weeks, they're smelling themselves. They look good. They're going to play a shit team. They're going to find a way to lose. And what happened? They played a shit team. They found a way to lose.
Oh, they didn't find a way to lose. I mean, that's what was crazy about that. It wasn't your traditional 10-point underdog. Like, you could say Indianapolis, a couple really bad turnovers from the Ravens, a couple misfear. Like, Dallas just got fucking, like, they just got, like, wrecked. I mean, it wasn't even a sort of fluky little fakey final. I mean, they just got straight up beat. And, yeah, that was thought Arizona would cover. I expected the Dallas sort of sleepy time spot. And yeah, it was, I mean, Arizona, 3 weeks of really good football against the NFC East. They got a tough matchup coming with the Niners. So I don't know if that's going to continue, but good on them, man. They've been playing well. They deserve to win.
Yeah, I got to give them kudos where it's due. Yeah, here's another team I got to say, like, didn't even come close to appropriately handicapping this one. The Chiefs, they told the Bears to come on in. They even brought Taylor Swift in for this game.
No,
they wanted to throw up a performance.
This was your donkey of the week. Tell the people what you did in this game.
So now, mind you, I want to be clear. My pick for this game was the Bears plus 12.5. My concern was, having seen the Chiefs in the last few weeks, my concern was this going to be like a closer game than necessary? Didn't even bet this originally. Like, literally, I even said, don't know if I could bet this game. I'm so pissed off from the Broncos game. I literally pushed on the Green Bay at this point, and I'm down, I want to say, like 14 units by this point, just from 1 o'clock, and I'm like, I got to do, like, a big Bucks desperate play. The Chiefs were up, I want to say 24-0. The live bet was minus 23.5, and I fucking threw 4 units on it.
Literally, it's like, well, Steve, imagine you told the audience, oh yeah, I went and bet the Chiefs at minus 12.5, and then instead you bet them 23.5. Although it was the right play because the Bears are fucking worthless. So
yeah, Donk, that was I will say that was bad, and especially too, like, when I literally said, like, I wouldn't play this 12.5. This was a game you literally could have bet you could have bet the ladder up in so many different ways, and you would have hit. Like, it just was straight money.
The Bears, can't lose to the Bears. You guys can't lose to the Bears. I mean, they're just. You
see, the problem is you said we couldn't lose to the commies. You said we couldn't lose, God, who do we play week 1? The Raiders. You're like, you can't lose to the Raiders. I guarantee you we will find a way to lose to this Bears team.
Bro, this Bears, Justin Field, literally, he's giving Zach Wilson a run for his money now. Like, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, 2 of the biggest draft busts in history.
Yeah, it is. God, it is just, I don't even know if I feel bad for Justin Fields anymore. There was a period I felt bad for him. I thought maybe he just had bad coaching, bad organization, wasn't a system appropriate for him. This guy's just not good. He is just not an NFL pro at the position of quarterback. He would be more serviceable as a running back, in my opinion. I know we made this joke with Lamar Jackson all the time, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, the only thing this guy was good for was running the ball. And don't get me wrong, I know he can play the position of quarterback, but he's not winning.
I mean, he's
not winning.
And call himself a quarterback, but the guy can't read an NFL defense. So, I mean, that was embarrassing. Like, I think he had like 99 yards passing in like a 41-10 game. I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I mean, I will say, here's the funny stat I wanted to bring up. So, like, literally going all throughout the news right now was that Taylor Swift was at the game. Supposedly, from other sources, Travis Kelce had sent her an open invite to her people. She accepted the invite because she thought it would be fun. She ended up getting to sit with Kelce's mom, which I thought was a good look too. They ended up leaving the arena together. So I kind of like oddly enough wonder, did like Kelsey and the Chiefs just have a great game because she was in the arena? Funny enough, literally Travis Kelsey jerseys after that, sales have gone up 400%. All the fucking Swifties are now just automatically in love with Travis Kelsey. You know, not like he was a great tight end to begin with or anything. Not like literally going to go down as the best, but oh no, you're going to possibly date Taylor Swift, so now we just need to buy everything up here.
Yeah,
I think it's fucking.
I gotta say, I'm not really into that story. I'm not a big celebrity romance person. So, but you know, good for him.
I thought it was weird. Like literally, that's one of those things where like I don't really care, even though I'm not talking about it a little bit. But had I known that going into the handicap, I probably would have just said, fuck it, Chiefs minus 40. Like
you wouldn't have been that far off.
No. Yeah, Justin Fields, 11 for 22, 99 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. And Zach Wilson threw for more against the Patriots in the rain. I mean, come on.
I mean, not by much, like 60 yards, but that was...
I'm going to declare it, this hot take. Justin Fields is the worst quarterback in football. Worse than Zach Wilson.
Currently? Or...
No, I'm going to put it out there right now. Currently, Justin Fields, worst quarterback in football. Hot take.
Hard to disagree with you. By the way, he was number 86 in the top 100 this year, just so you know.
That's a fucking joke, too.
God, just if the Broncos lose,
top 86 draft boss.
I mean, I say this about the Broncos, but I think this applies to the Bears too. Making the wrong draft pick, hiring the wrong coach, putting the wrong guy in at the wrong time will set your team and organization years back.
Yeah.
They could have had, like, literally, they started with Mitch Trubisky. I mean, how many years did they get set back?
Yeah, they passed on Patrick Mahomes to draft Mitch Trubisky.
Traded up. They traded up. And then they got Justin Fields. Wrong move again. He literally is on par to be the worst. I mean, the only quarterback I would say that was a worse was maybe Jamarcus Russell.
Well,
I would argue
so hard for these teams too. Like, that's what I give the Niners a lot of credit. That's why I even give the Bills a lot of credit, because it takes a lot to go and be like, this kid we drafted sucks and we need to move on. Like, Shanahan, who's been to a Super Bowl, could do that. Oh, Trey Lance is a bum. We have Brock Purdy. We're going to go with Brock Purdy and trade away this guy who we traded up for. Like, you look at the Jets holding on to Zach Wilson. You look at the Bears. They're desperate because they know if these guys pan out, like, they're all gone. And those two teams, they might be all gone at the end of the year.
I think another move, too, Denver, like the opposite side, Denver literally paying Russell Wilson Walmart money, not looking good right now. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't beat the Bears this week, burn it down, cut him loose. Like, take the L, walk away. Some of these organizations are just too proud to take the L. But, yeah, Kyle Shanahan, yeah, you know what? We traded up to get Trey Lance. And you know what? It was the wrong move. But luckily, we got a Brock Purdy who's actually winning us games. And at the end of the day in the NFL, that's what it's about, winning games. Brock Purdy, regardless of whether Trey Lance would have worked or not, if Brock Purdy is winning you games, you will sell enough jerseys, you will sell tickets, you will be just fine. And it actually might even pay off to be a better story because he was Mr. Irrelevant. And maybe that's the lesson. I mean, I don't think it matters where in the draft. You just have to find the guy who wins you games. That's just what it comes down to. Kansas City, say what you will, they pick guys who will win them games constantly, all the time. Like, I remember last year, they got shit for signing Juju Smith-Schuster. And I was like, oh, Andy Reid will find a way to make him work.
Yeah.
Now, did he pan out fantasy-wise? No. But did Juju Smith-Schuster have a fucking Super Bowl ring? He sure did.
Yep. Kadarius Toney.
Same with Kadarius Toney.
Yeah. Good coaches.
You know, that's
good coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of good coaches versus bad coaches, Steelers Monday night. This was another bad pick. You literally gave out the stats. I literally spent half my handicap giving you all the reasons why you should pick Pittsburgh. Did I do it? No.
God, you made some. You made some really bad ones. I forgot about this one too. Yeah, you literally like everything you said was why you should pick Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm done. I'm done with the Raiders. I tried to get cute. Tried to fade the Steelers on prime time.
Yeah,
Now I'm a donkey.
Fading Mike Tomlin on primetime. Oh, okay.
With
Wait.
Josh McDaniels at that.
Okay. Brandon Staley, he's giving him a run. You're down 8 late in the game. You kick a field goal inside your own 10 or like what? I couldn't believe it. I'm there worried. Like, am I going to lose this game? Like, are the Raiders going to go in? And then the guy kicks the field goal, and I'm like, holy shit, I just won. Like, I can't believe this guy. Like, tell me, anybody out there who has Pittsburgh, this guy kicks the field goal, you're like happy as a pig in shit. Josh McDaniels, another one, stupidest coach in football. Like, what the fuck are you doing? How stupid was that shit?
Literally, it felt like payback for Rick Bisaccia 2020 against the Chargers when they won that. They got that field goal. This just felt like the inverse of it, where it was like they're gonna kick the field goal. Field goal. It sounds so weird when I say this out loud. They field goaled when they shouldn't have field goaled.
Yeah, and it's like, oh well, I trusted my defense. You're the Raiders. You haven't had a good defense in like 20 years. What do you mean you trust? You're not
Charles.
You're not the Browns. You're not the Bills. You're not the Niners. You're the Raiders. You have no defense. That's your thing.
You're not even the damn Jets. Like, what do you do? Like, you don't have Charles Woodson anymore.
Gone for it with fucking Zach Wilson, 4th and 4. I mean, Zach probably would have thrown a 2-yard out pattern short, but still.
Kirk Cousins probably would have thrown like a 4-yard out to trap TJ Hawkinson to like not get 20 yards that he needed. But you know what? At least he went for it.
That was so.
At least, you know what though? At least when Sean McVay kicked that field goal, 4 seconds was left. It was game over. Let me end this game with some points. And like, you knew he was ending it. He wasn't trying to get the win. Brandon Staley, even as bad as he is, at least at the end of the day, if they convert that 4th down, he was going for the win. He wasn't going for a tie.
I mean, let's be honest. Brandon Staley, 4th and 4, it wouldn't even have been a question.
Like, that was going for the win. Josh McDaniels was literally coaching to not lose by 8. I don't.
We had a good
even
loss,
know where to begin.
We lost at home as like a 3-point game. Oh, by the way, that line went to 3, which resulted in me putting more money on the game because I wasn't even going to bet it.
As you should.
I didn't like it, and then I was like, "Oh, there's a Steelers +3. I guess I should throw that in there."
Yeah, it did not pan out for me. I didn't play that game at all, to be honest with you.
Oh my God! I just realized too, we're getting Brandon Staley and Josh McDaniels next week. I want chaos. I want like 4th and 8 from your own 20. I want the Raiders to kick a field goal from like the 1-yard line down 8 with 2 minutes to go. Like, I just want chaos.
I can't. I will say they have always been entertaining to watch. Even though I hate both teams, I hope they both find a way to lose.
I hope they blow.
I don't know if they tie. I hope they both
in
lose.
Like the first quarter. Like, I just want to see the most stupid shit you've ever seen on a football field.
I want Keenan Allen to have like 200 receiving yards in the first half and then nothing in the second. Like, this game could be just a total shit show, but I'm all about it. I will say that will be one to watch. Another one that so we'll go into the Monday games. Ended up watching both. This is where things started to look good for Big Bucks over here. So Philadelphia -4.5, money line for them -230, under 46. One of I want to say 4 games. One of 4 games on the slate this week. Perfect handicap, and this was one where like the line, I kept flipping from 4.5 to 5.5. I got it at 4.5. Not that it mattered. The Eagles did cover. Your best bet for this game, Eagles first half. Hit the bucket, plus 100. That was good. And I had an Eagles money line play too when I think I had it 1-2 even. Hit that. The only Eagles first to hit the red zone, got that boosted up. So all in all, I actually ended up getting like 4 units back out of that Monday night game. The only one that killed me was the DraftKings boost where they had it was Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, and AJ Brown to get 30 receiving yards. Devonta Smith, 28 on that last catch.
I didn't play that. You almost talked me into it, and I'm like, those boosts never seem to hit. And sure enough,
it just seemed so, but it just seemed like that was the game it would happen. And it damn near came close. And Devonta Smith even had some other targets too. He should have caught, but didn't.
I mean, damn,
I thought Mike Evans would be the one to screw me.
260 passing yards, but not
unbelievable. Yeah. But anyways, Eagles came into Tampa, basically made Baker Mayfield their bitch. My overall takeaway though, I know they came in and made it look like Baker was their bitch, but in reality, this was like to me, this was a coaching performance of a lifetime from Philadelphia. If you paid any attention to it, they probably did the smartest thing they could on the road against a Baker Mayfield who really just has nothing to lose. They kept him off the field for a majority of the second half. And literally the positions they put this guy in, there was no way he was going to win. I mean, backed up on his half-yard line, it's goal line. All you can do is hand it off and pray. And the next thing you know, they get a safety. I want to say he maybe had 2 or 3 drives, but he was already down big. It just, there was just no way for me, watching that second half of that game, Baker Mayfield was going to come back and win this one. It just seemed like it was already decided.
Yeah.
But I will give him this credit. He looked all right in the first half. He looked like he was the guy, and it looked like he was back to, I don't know about his prime. I don't know if that would be the word, but he looked okay. It didn't seem like he was royally screwing up, maybe until he threw that pick. But, it just tough break for Baker. I know he's lost a lot of Monday night games, and for him to just not really even have a real chance just seemed a little bit disappointing. It wasn't really the game we wanted, but the game we got.
Yeah, I think with the Eagles, you're really going to have to look for, and I played the under Rachaad White rushing yards, which hit, not by much, by I think it was 9 yards or not even, maybe 7 yards, something like that. Didn't hit by much, but Eagles top 5 run defense, and these teams that are relying on a running game like Baker Mayfield, the guy who's going to need a running game to support, you're really going to want to avoid messing with the Eagles defense under those circumstances, just because they're so good against the run. If that's again, I'm actually really wondering if Washington's going to put up a tough fight against the Eagles next week. My biggest fear, though, is sort of the same thing. Is it going to be a game where they're going to clamp down on the run and, Sam Howell's going to have to throw, the 30 times to keep the game close. So, yeah. Oh, and one more thing, too, just real quick. All the sharps who were pouring money on Tampa, good decision there.
Wait, what?
Oh,
really?
There was a ton of sharp money while the line kept going down. Ton of sharp money against the Eagles really all year. And a lot of the sharps really like Tampa in that game, and I don't know why.
I didn't get it either. I thought
after beating the
Eagles
Bears
were the clear play.
After beating the Bears by 10, that vaunted Chicago Bears team, bunch of sharp players all putting their money on, on Tampa. That was kind of stupid.
Well, especially too, Tampa hasn't covered their last 2 home games as home dogs. Baker Mayfield's not good in primetime either. There were other ways to look at that game, and that was one where I was like, why is this line keep moving down? That was a game where if it had kept going down, I probably would have poured more money into it. But I was lucky to get what I got, clean the slate there, except for that DraftKings boost. But otherwise, got that game down. Yeah, this one hurts though. Last game, it was our dog of the week. It was a double dog. Matt Stafford didn't show up. They lost 16-19 in a game where they got the cover. And long story short for me on this one, had the Rams +3, even though we handicapped it at 2.5, had them +3. Again, put some big bucks money on it because was trying to rebound from the Sunday night losses, was looking good from Philly. And I'm in the third quarter, and the Rams are down 19-9. Bengals have the ball, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to hedge this. Wasn't getting the line I wanted. Mind you, and this is what kills me, because when I literally texted you and said, hey, what do you think? Should I hedge this? Was when Matt Stafford threw that bounce off the helmet pick. That line went from +1 to -3.5. And I was like, God, are you kidding me? Like, I literally could have hammered this. Bengals +1.5. Could have had a freaking middle potential, which, by the way, had I gotten it, would have hit. Or the -3 ended up pushing anyway. Or, sorry, the +3 ended up pushing. So I at least got that bet back. But that was a bet like I thought was dead in the water. But what did I do to hedge, Money Mansmann? I did the team total over for the Bengals. And 3 to 4 drives later, fucking nothing. Just
that was unfortunate.
Very unfortunate end to the night. Not how I wanted it to go. But luckily the Rams came back and covered. And again, is this gonna be the definition of the Rams this year? They're not going to win, but they're going to cover as a dog. Like,
I got to give Cincinnati credit because I didn't have a lot of faith in their defense, and they played like a desperate team. Joe Burrow's still a serious problem to me. And all my under team total bets, I actually had under 22.5 for the Bengals that hit. And also, too, play your alternate spreads. Rams +3.5 had a couple of bets that came in +3.5. So you remember I played all the alternate spreads before in previous years and did fairly well with them. And I guess for the last 2 weeks before this, I kind of got away from that. But yeah, no, I had the Rams. This is how lucky I was with the Rams game. I had +0.5 point first half, 6-6 going into half. So that hit. And then I had Rams +3.5 alternate spread. That came in. And then I had the under 22.5, and that hit. So I got the Rams. Talk about sweating. I lost that in the contest plays. I was only 3-2 on the contest plays, which was disappointing. But yeah. I mean, credit to the Bengals. Their defense really stood up. They played like a desperate team, and it showed. The Rams, yeah. God, you're just wondering more and more whether week 1 was just they always owned the Seahawks. You're really just wondering how good this team is.
Yeah, that's kind of my takeaway there. Was that a Rams system play? Maybe this Rams team really is as bad as they are, especially without Cooper Kupp. But I mean, this was another weird situation. I thought Matt Stafford would step up and do more, but he just didn't. I mean, if you hold Joe Burrow and this Bengals team to 19, I mean, how many times have we seen a team like the Chiefs, a team like Baltimore even? I mean, I know Baltimore, it was 27-24, but think of it this way. If Baltimore holds the Bengals to 19, who do you think's winning?
Yeah.
I would even say Baltimore. Pittsburgh, if you hold the Bengals to 19, are you going to be able to score 20 and get a 1? I think the Steelers could do it. I think a lot of these NFL teams, you could hold the Bengals to 19 and win. And that's going to be something to keep in mind next week when I think the Bengals I think they have a tough matchup going into next week. It looks like, they're actually going to Tennessee. So that's going to be an interesting one. I don't know if I'm going to play that.
I would seriously look Cincinnati. You know why? If they blitz like they did against Stafford, Tannehill has zero chance. I mean, they can't.
That's true.
I think that was the key thing with the Rams. Like you see with the blitz, they could not handle the pressure was ridiculous, and I think they're going to do the same thing to the Titans. So I'd probably look Cincinnati.
Yeah, I may take a look at that. That's not a bad idea. My only concern though was that the Rams had literally no rushing offense whatsoever, and the Titans had Derrick Henry. So if they're able to run the ball, are they going to be able to beat the blitz? So gonna be one to really consider handicapping. But yeah, with that said, that's all 16 games from week 3. I don't know about you. I can do a Thursday night handicap for the people tonight if you want, or we can hold off for tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do Thursday. I actually really like the Thursday game.
All right, we will jump into the Thursday game then. All right, coming up, let me pull up the FanDuel numbers for you. All right, folks, here we go. Okay, good. The line movement has not changed. So the Detroit Lions Thursday night are traveling to Green Bay, revenge spot for the Packers from Week 18 last season. Packers taking 1.5 at home, plus 106, minus 124 for the Lions. Over-unders 45.5. Money Mansmann, you like this game. Tell us why.
Yeah, this is, and it's 1.5 on yours, correct? Sorry, I was just looking.
Yes, sir. 1.5.
Yeah. I'm normally I wouldn't do this if it was longer in the week, but I'll make it a part of, I guess, like a co-best bet. Co-best bet Detroit Lions here. Number one, I think they have 10 straight covers now against the NFC North. Some ridiculous sort of stat. Maybe that's too many. I don't have my spreadsheet.
I'll look it up.
Bad. Yeah, if you could. They have like multiple covers against the NFC North in a row. And honestly, I couldn't get there with the Packers as a small dog here. I know the game's going to be in Green Bay, but like if you said before the year who's a better team, the Lions or the Packers, I think most people would say the Lions. And no offense, like you look at what the Packers team did. They should have lost last week. They lost to Atlanta in a game where, at least statistically, I know a lot of sharps said that they deserved to lose, and they beat the Bears. So, I mean, they haven't really beaten anybody. The Lions crushed Atlanta last week and beat the Chiefs. I like what the Lions have done, like record-wise, a lot better thus far. And for this to essentially be a pick'em game, Thursday night football, I know it's short rest Thursday night. I really wonder if, again, Detroit has been good stopping the run early in the season. I'm just wondering if Green Bay is going to be able to score enough to keep up with this Lions team. I really like the Lions here. I think this line is totally wrong. I don't really get why the Packers are, such a small underdog here. I thought it'd be closer to 3. So yeah, under 3, I'd go with the Lions.
Can't fault you for this one. By the way, it is 10 straight against the NFC North for the Lions, but it's only 4 straight as far as they go on the road. And they actually don't have a good straight up record. It looks like, let's see here. They've won their last 2. They've actually lost their last 4 prior to that. Yeah, the Lions are just an enigma to me to figure out. Looking at these teams just this year, week 1, my opinion, they should have lost to the Chiefs, but Kadarius Toney had bricks for hands and couldn't catch a ball to save his life, and that screwed the Chiefs out of winning that one. You had them go in week 2. They lose in overtime to Geno Smith at home, a game which we did handicap correctly, of course, but, you're at home. It's Geno Smith and Seahawks. You're supposed to be the better team. You lose in overtime.
Coming off their Super Bowl.
Coming off your Super Bowl. Then week 3, you get a bad Atlanta quarterback at home, a quarterback I've literally been down on all year, and Jared Goff only throws up 20 on them. Like, it just seems like, to me, this Lions team has been very underwhelming still, and I think that's why the line is very close. And Green Bay is another sort of enigma where system play, they beat the Bears. Week 2, they barely lose, last-second field goal. because their defense couldn't stop the run. Week 3, you're coming down 17-0. You win 18-17. You almost lose on the last second field goal anyways, but it doesn't. They don't make it. You sneak away with the win. Looking at this rivalry, I know the Lions have won 3 straight against Green Bay. Lions are 5-1 straight up ATS in their last 6 on the road. That one loss is that key, though. That one loss was the last time they were a road favorite. And Detroit, I love betting on Detroit when they're either playing a really bad quarterback or I like them as a dog. But for me, just Detroit road favorite Thursday night. I mean, they were +6 against the Chiefs. They won that game when they probably had no business winning it. Green Bay, kind of another scrappy team. They're going to be home for this one. It's going to be prime time. And say what you will. I mean, like I said, Jordan Love, tough defense in the New Orleans Saints. I think he had a tough time, but I think he ended up scrapping it together and getting the win. This Detroit defense is going to be a step down compared to them. And I think you're right. I think this Packers team just finding ways to cover here. And Packers 2-0 is home, or 2-0 is underdogs, I think it was. So, or no, they're 2-0 as home underdogs so far. They were an underdog last week. They were an underdog week 1 to the Bears. So for me, I'm actually leaning towards the Bears as the home team on Thursday night.
Packers.
Sorry, not the Bears, the Packers. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm leaning towards the Packers as the home underdog on a Thursday night game. And yeah, +1.5. I think this could be a very close 1 point game that comes down to a last second field goal. I mean,
maybe you're playing law of averages. Has a home team covered on Thursday night thus far this year?
They covered the last 2.
Well, I guess it depends.
Or sorry,
the Eagles.
That's true. Yeah, it depends on when you got the Eagles against the Vikings.
And then the one before that was
Kansas City, Detroit.
Oh, gotcha. And then San Francisco. So San Francisco.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, current numbers aren't really in my favor. It's not really in my favor. Yeah, we'll call it 1-1-1. But I mean, my thinking is Detroit has been pretty underwhelming. Green Bay is just finding ways to do it. They're a home dog. It's sort of a weird Thursday night system play for me. I'm not the best on Thursday night, folks. You might want to listen to Mansmann here, but no, I don't like Detroit as a road favorite. That's my only turn off about that game.
I can give you that. I can give you that. But to me, better team, pick 'em game that's covered 10 straight against the North. So the trend line's there. Yeah, I like that pick. I'll make it a co-best bet with whatever I go with.
See, it's not a best bet for me. I just my handicap
too low. I'm surprised. Although I'm on the public side, according to DK, 67% on my side, which
non-public home underdog Thursday night. Oh, yeah, you might be winning. I might have to play it, but all right. Over under. I actually like the over 45.5 here. Like I said, Detroit's defense is going to be a step down from New Orleans, and I think Jordan Love. I know he only got 1 touchdown last week. That was another prop bet that killed me. But Green Bay is finding ways to win this game. Jared Goff, I think he's had good performances in Green Bay as a Lion, except for his first season. And I think they are going to be getting David Montgomery back too. I think that's going to make a key difference as well. So I'm expecting a close, tight, back and forth situation game. Score prediction, I'm going to go 28-21. That's a little high. So let's go. God, do it. 27. You know what? We'll say 27-24, something like that.
Gotcha. I actually slightly lean to the under. I actually think this Detroit defense, if they show up the way they did last week, I think they can contain Jordan Love at least a little bit. So, Thursday night football, I think the Lions, like their last maybe 4 games or 4 of their last 5 have gone under on the road. That's neither here nor there. It's close.
That's
I don't
true.
really have a strong lean. I'll give it the under here, but I'm not going to be running to the window to bet under, under total points here.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be an over-under play for me. Maybe a decent teaser.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Get those little
maybe.
spreads going.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, yeah, so that's our Thursday night football play, folks. We'll be back tomorrow for our best bets for week 4, like we mentioned. Thanks for tuning in to the Distinguished DEGents. Check us out on Spotify currently. Check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/DEGents podcast. And make sure you check out our YouTube page as well, where we'll be posting this. Money Mansmann, any final remarks for the first half, King?
No. Probably not a first half play for me Thursday night football. I think I'm going to avoid the first half this week. So,
gotcha. All right. Well, I am Steve Big Bucks Beta, Money Mansmann. As we always say on this channel, go win some motherfucking money.
Peace.
All right. Y'all have a good night.